with me to the Space Needle located in Seattle, Washington. So the Space Needle there again does have a variety of options and is the #1 tourist spot in Seattle, Washington. So when you're coming out to the Space Needle and you are going to have to do some walking, so make sure you have comfortable attire and comfortable footwear. Now, if you do need accommodation as it pertains to accessibility, there are stairs. So just let a representative know that you need accommodation, whether you're able to do stairs, so on and so forth. They will be able to guide you and advise you and get you to a level via elevator from the gift shop. So if you're not sure, you don't see anybody, stop in and go to the gift shop, have your tickets available, and they will be able to advise you accordingly. So that is that piece. Now, as I mentioned previously, the Space Needle does pretty much have 3 floors. It's the ground floor, then when you have your elevator ride all the way to the top, you have your observation deck, and then you have your rotation deck. Now, the observation deck has an inside and an outside, very, very cool, but keep in mind when you go outside, it is almost at a slant, at an angle, so you'll kind of come outside, you'll be inside, all of that's level, and when you come outside, there is a slight slant. Now, it's my understanding that the design is pretty much created that way to be able to give the observers the best view, but it can be quite nauseating. I did have a family member kind of got nauseous and kind of disoriented a bit after being up there for a while, because it did kind of seem like you would almost otherwise be falling over, or at least it gave that illusion that you would be falling over. It was upright. It was standing upright still, but it did give that illusion. So we did stay with that individual for a bit just to kind of, calm them down and say, hey, make sure that they were okay. So that is something to keep in mind. So if you are concerned with heights, maybe perhaps if you're going up to, the observation deck and the rotation deck, maybe to stay inside. I mean, of course, why not go outside in that sense? You're already there, go outside. But if you feel that you're getting nauseous or something to that nature, maybe perhaps go inside, take a break, grab a seat, and and farewell. Grab a seat so you will be in a better position from there. Now, pictures. They did have photographers going around, and I'm not sure exactly how they ended up getting those photos back to those people. I want to say it was like a ticketing kind of deal. They would do it. They would take the pictures, and they gave you like a code or something, like QR code or something, where you were able to get your pictures later on. But that was an option. And of course, you yourself. So you can bring bring your cameras, bring your items that you will need to be able to take those fabulous photos. So that is something to consider and keep in mind as well. Now, certain things that a lot of the attractions don't want are stands. So you of course can bring your cameras and items, but they didn't want like stands, tripods, because those are items that unfortunately can get knocked over, whether it's with the wind, or knock over and ultimately damage the property or other things, fixtures within the Space Needle. This is the same for Chihuly's Garden and Glass. They did not allow tripods, so that's something to keep in mind when you are planning your trip to the Space Needle. Now, coming down, the rotating deck does take about 45 minutes or so if you were to stand in one spot to kind of go all the way around. So if you do find a seat and that's something you're interested in, you can do that as well. But with the rotating deck, there is a section, of course, where the floor is see-through. So again, that's another one of those, if you are scared of heights and you have other concerns, that's something to keep in mind. Of course, you don't have to stand over that area, but it is interesting to see, be able to get that observation through there with the glass. You can also see the glass, and you can actually see the two pieces kind of moving in the rotation about, which I think is super cool. Now, food. They didn't really have food. It's my understanding they used to have a restaurant there in the Space Needle. They had some construction again some years back, and it doesn't seem to be that it has come back. Now, with that being said, this is kind of quite different from, let's say, the Strat that's in Vegas, whereas the Strat has a full service restaurant, right? So once you go all the way to the top there, similar kind of deal. It is a full service restaurant. Same thing, bit pricey, definitely one of more of the, the higher end of the echelon as it pertains to, food, quality of food, menu items, and the price point. So that is something to be considered. But there, they didn't, at the Space Needle, they didn't quite have that. So pretty much what they had was like a bar. So they have a variety of drinks. They also had a couple like bar type or just like drink areas for like non-alcoholic options or beverages that were outside on the rotating deck as well. So if you wanted to get water, like juice, tea, coffee kind of deal, you could go over there and get that as well during your time during your time there. Now, it's my understanding for the most part that any food and other knickknacks kind of had to stay on that rotating deck area. Obviously, they didn't want things going up to the observation. Once you went outside, or certain things that were up on the observation, it was very windy. It was fairly windy, so it was kind of pretty much anything you brought out there would have just blown away. So at that point, pretty much, people did decide to keep those foods and drinks inside. Now, outside of that, they did have a bar, and the bar pretty much only had drinks and a few knickknacks. So like chips, salsa, like kind of appetizer type things, but no real food. So if you're interested in food, I would probably reserve it to do it after the Space Needle, because if you get it before, then you end up going up and then you get nauseous between the elevator ride and then the rotating floor thing. That can kind of get icky because you can't exactly leave when you want to leave. So you do have to be escorted via an elevator. There will be an elevator attendant. The elevators are quite large, so I'd probably say there's 15, maybe 15-ish people or so on the elevator when you're going up and coming down. And it is a quick trip. So in under a minute, you're going to go from, again, that ground floor where the gift shop is. You're going to come in, you're going to go all the way up to the top where the observation of the rotating, deck, and then you'll do the same thing coming back down. So you're not in the elevator long, but there can be quite a long queue to wait to get onto the elevator. That's the hack, right? So I'm Lanisha Kier. You're watching Travel Tips by Kier. I'm a former airport employee, world traveler, here to give you all those tips and tricks, especially those that the big companies just don't want you to know. If that's something you're interested in, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification so you're notified when I have a future upload. If you're going and you're saying, hey, I'm nauseous, I need to leave this instant, that may not necessarily happen. The situation is really not designed for that. For the most part, your ticket is supposed to be kind of like a reserve for like an hour. You do need to be there timely for your ticket because they do sell X number of tickets per like hour time slot. So if you have like a 3 o'clock time slot, they're expecting you to be there in and around the 3 o'clock time spot so they can hold X number of people at the top of the Space Needle. Then they expect to have you down back to the ground floor. Then you're free to do your shopping at the gift shop and do, move forward however you please. But at that point in time, you're looking to bring forward, let's say, the 4 o'clock group, right? The 4 o'clock group to be able to do their time and observe. So if you end up hanging out a little longer, they're up there. I didn't see that really to be an issue. I did see a couple other reports that once it came to in and around the hour mark, they did kind of say, hey, your ticket's for an hour, and kind of escort them out. I didn't see that. I didn't hear that. I didn't see anybody being asked to leave or anything like that. So I didn't experience that. So if you experience something different, definitely leave that in the comment section below. I am interested in what that was or what that would have looked like. But other than that, for the most part, everybody was happy. Again, lots and lots of pictures. That is something you'll see a ton. And of course, the ambiance, the experience. Nice being there, nice being able to observe and see. And keep in mind, Shahuli's Garden and Glass is right next door, so you will see some of those beauties there, especially in the observation or even on the ride up. You're gonna be like, what is that? It is likely Shahuli's Garden and Glass. So they do have a combination ticket. You can, of course, purchase the Space Needle ticket separate if that's the only attraction that you want to do, and same Shahuli separate. But if you get the combination ticket for both for the same day, you are likely going to get the best rate. So definitely keep that in mind. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you think of the Seattle Space Needle. Do you plan on going to the Space Needle? Do you have it on your wish list, or have you gone and you're looking to go back? Leave all the D's down below, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.